Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our event on the Book of Living and Dying. All the events will be the same as the previous events. First, introduction of the video of Edgar Cayence. Then we'll read his synopsis. Then we'll continue on the path to the Book of the Living and Dying. I'll read. Everybody mute their mics. And at the end, we'll read the summary together. Okay. Good morning. Good evening. Let's begin.
根据某人或者某个团体的要求呢，凯西在约定的时间进入催眠入定状态。书记员坐在他的附近，记下他所说的所有的话。主导人将此个人或团体的当时所在地址报给凯西。这个个人或者团体可以在现场，也可以在千里之外。当凯西说我们找到了，随后有关信息就会给出。当说明和问题都完成后，睡眠中的凯西会说我们到此结束。令人惊异的是，醒来后的凯西根本不记得自己说过什么。他的8年级的教育的潜意识，甚至连记录的解读都需要别人帮助解释才明白。特别是有关医学的、历史的、地理的名词，他干脆放弃了要搞明白的想法。催眠中的他人事不知，失去全部的五官感觉。有人曾经当众用针管扎他，他醒来后才有疼痛的感觉。这里说解读分为身体健康解读和生命解读。前者占了解读的大多数，有9000多个例子是就某个人的身体健康和疾病所给出的信息。后者呢，就是就某人所有的生活经历对今生的影响给出的总结和指导。通常生理解读的程式是这样的：当主导人看到凯西的手从头部放到腹部，并且呢眼帘微微闪动时，就会开始说如果主导人错过这个信息呢，凯西就会进入睡眠状态。那么这个主导人怎么说呢？那你将找到某某人，他在某某地方，你将仔细了解并彻底检查他的身体，告诉我你了解到的状况，给出现成问题的起因，并提出为此身体解决问题的方案。你要以正常的语速清晰地表达，你将回答我会提出的问题。就是这个主导人呢会讲这一段话。其他的解读与此大同小异。凯西呢通常说我发现了这个个体，如果这个个体不是第一次，凯西会加上我们以前见到过。 这个以前是上一次解读，有的是几周前、几年前，有一个人的上一次解读甚至是30年前的事，他都知道啊，见过。凯西做出过2000多个生命解读，轮回转世成为这个生命解读的基石啊，这是从以前前世所做所说所想部分地造就了今天的你和你的生活。解读指出报应、自由意志、宿命和恩典的交织将决定你的未来。凯西的解读信息是从哪里来的呢？因为凯西仅仅呢受了有8年级的教育程度，除了圣经外，平时的阅读范围也很狭窄，业余爱好也只是钓鱼和整理自家的花园。他的摄影职业似乎也帮不上什么忙，他的社交圈子中呢也远不是由知识渊博的人组成。他的五花八门、无所不包含的信息是从哪里来的呢？早在这个1910年的时候呢，这凯西的第一个正式合作者开西门医生就这个问题呢请教了解读后呢，这个开医生呢对《纽约时报》提供了这样的解释：就像其他人的潜意识一样，催眠入定中的凯西的潜意识同样顺服于引导者、催眠师的建议和引导。同时他的潜意识能够以要求解读者的潜意识交流并获取解释信息。我们知道潜意识从不遗忘，而且以显意识无法反应的速度记忆。例如，人的眼睛对每秒钟闪过的24幅到30幅画的电影画面丝毫不觉得有任何的间隙，但潜意识却能够记住所有的画面。一个催眠师可以很容易地让他的顾客在催眠中回忆起显意识毫无记忆的3岁时的一场大雨之夜，或者2岁时的生日会，甚至刚出生的时候所在的病房和周围的医生。一个好的往事催眠师更可以将人带到前世的一些经历，以帮助解决现实的一些生理的或者心理的痛楚。还有的这个催眠师呢，可以将人带到2世之间的经历等等。总之，人的潜意识是我们从开始到现在为止的所有的所思所说所为的记忆仓库。凯西说，受过训练的任何人都可以凯西的潜意识通过与客人的潜意识的交流而获得相关的生理、地理的信息。所以客人当时所穿的睡衣、此人的血压、脉搏、身体各个部分的运作和症结所在，当然也有历史留下的事件与其他个体的关系和思维格局等等，这是解读信息的第一个来源。解读的另一个信息来源就是生命之书，或者称为阿卡西记录。解读解释说，这不是一个文字记录，而是记载在时空卷轴上的活动记录。凯西以及一些通灵人士可以得到部分这些记录，这是凯西生命解读信息的主要来源。我们有时候在梦境中也会被展现一些记录的片段。第3类信息来源，我们称其为灵界个体，包括没有转世的和已经去世的，就是在灵界的那些个体，那些人。在一个解读当中有了一个案例就是这个代号是5756-9，一个操作英国口音的个体通过凯西之口呢传递信息 凯西就是否可以临界个体交流的问题做了回答。灵魂离开这个物理层次后呢，会留在那个空间层次，直到他们发展到一定的水平继续向前，或者为了他们的完善而回到这里。当他们在这个交流空间的层次或者在这个范围，任何个体均可以起交流。1934年的7月9号，在给凯西夫人的一个亲戚的身体解读结束后，凯西说有一些个体想要交流。当凯西夫人呢，就是解读的主导人同意后，所有在场的人听到的对话的一半，就像在看凯西打电话一样，听不到另一半的声音。后来才知道，凯西夫人的祖母、叔叔、姨父、弟弟和凯西夫妇的仅活了几个月的儿子等一群人过来与他们交流。看来他们似乎在准备下一次转世。当然，最重要的是一个叫麦克的个体，在解读262系列词里多次通过凯西之口传递灵修的信息。这个麦克呢，自称是天使长、归路之主。从这个信息来源中呢，凯西扮演的是这个媒介通道。在一个解读中呢，凯西是这样回答这个问题的，就是每个个体通过耐心写在时空卷轴上的记录。他接着说，当自我与无限相调和、相和谐时，它可以被打开；当调谐以那种意识层次时，它可以被阅读。在其他的一些解读中，我们可以了解到，行为、言语和思想都是物，它们在时空卷轴上留下了印记，像收音机调到一个频率就收到某个台一样。我们将自己调整好，也可以接触到时空的卷轴。这里上古文明呢，他这里说有在对1600多人做生命解读的时候，有700多人被提及有关于亚特兰提斯大西洲或者南马尼亚这个大陆的前世生活经历。根据解读呢，这个南马尼亚是一个横跨太平洋的古老大陆，而亚特兰提斯呢是一个东起地中海，西至现在的加勒比海的一个古大陆。解读对亚特兰提斯的资料较多，有一点得益于现在仍在世的这个凯西的第二个儿子埃德加·艾文斯。由于他在生命解读中有关亚特兰提斯的经历呢，所以激起了他对这一文明探索的兴趣。解读所说的亚特兰提斯呢，远早于柏拉图在他的这个提马有斯和克里西亚斯的中提及的有是9000多年前的亚特兰提斯。事实上，解读所说的亚特兰蒂斯的最后一个大岛沉入大西洋中的时间，正好与柏拉图说的相吻合。数十万年前，人类就开始在亚特兰蒂斯生活。在解读的描述中，约5万年前呢，科技发达，亚特兰蒂斯的技术成就就超过了当今。那个时候的交通速度极快，没有声音，不用汽油，而是用来自于太空的能源。由于道德沦丧，对资源和技术的误用、滥用、地级的转换，亚特兰蒂斯5万年前28000年前2次巨变，大部分的大陆沉入水中，就是现在的大西洋区域，特别是后一次。解读说，造成圣经 和其他古籍所记载的世纪大洪水。终于第3次呢，就是最后一次灾难发生在公元1万多年前，亚特兰蒂斯的最大的岛波塞迪亚终于彻底的沉入大西洋。解读并没有让我们完全失望，亚特兰蒂斯人带着他们的有关记录逃往各地造成了埃及、尤加顿、玛雅等地的文化的复兴。解读甚至给出3处现存的记录所在就是将会在佛罗里达附近海里升起的波塞蒂亚的一个庙宇里面在美洲的加尤敦的地区，在埃及金字塔的一个未发现的记录殿里面。
因为他预言过，他说人类会在1968年会找到亚特兰蒂斯的所在地。1968年呢，人们在偶然中发现位于大西洋巴哈马群岛比米尼岛海域水底用方形的巨石建造的道路，人们称其为比米尼通道。这一发现使人想起了凯西，因为他所描述的亚特兰蒂斯正覆盖了这一带海域。
可惜说，现在的人类科技和物质发展呢，正在将自己推向毁灭。他在预言中说到新世纪，人类科学和物质文明发展更加的迅速，但人变得更加的贪婪、自私、竞争、战争灾难加剧，热病蔓延，医药失效，许多人为人类提供食物的动植物有毒，但将会有一种天因依法应时拯救人类。由于人性变坏凯西说，也就是说21世纪之内亚特兰蒂斯会重新的突起，美国的东西海岸消失，欧洲消失，都沉下去了。但他说希望在东方，那这也就是说将会出现巨大的沧海桑田的变迁。解读给出的人类演变的时间表是什么样的呢？解读说，人类来到地球之前呢，地球经历过植物王国、动物王国阶段，约1050万年前，灵魂人类来到地球先是以来去自由的思想体形式在地球上嬉戏徜徉，随着越来越长的时间投入，我们的波动格局呢降低了，渐渐的固化了，在一些动植物中享受物质刺激和伴随而来的痛苦的同时，我们渐渐忘记了自己的本来面目和身份。20万年前，一个救赎计划开始实施，人类进入参与演变已久的一种类人猿体中，宣告人的时代。5个人种在地球上同时出现：黄种人白种人还有这个棕色的人、黑色的人、红色的人他这个红色的人呢，就是指亚特兰蒂斯的他们说的人了这28000年前人类的科学技术发展造成了地球的巨变，其代表呢就是亚特兰蒂斯大陆陷入水中，并给地球带来了灭顶的水灾。它的下面是讲死亡。凯西说过多次，死亡仅仅是跨入上帝的另一扇门。
我们的身体确实会腐烂，因为身体不来自于永恒，源于尘，归于土，但是那个身体并不是我们，仅仅是我们用它来在此地此时体验和学习的载体。我们是灵魂，有不灭的灵性，从永恒到永恒。
我们利用身体呢，就像司机开车一样， 车不是司机，身体也不是我们，但我们应该保养好身体，让我们有更长的时间来学习体验。不要埋怨车子不好，不要抱怨道路不平，不要埋怨他人的影响，照顾好自己，不伤害别人。等到有一天走过上帝的另一扇门，你会发现对死亡的恐惧是多么可笑。下一次你也许会选一辆特别的车子，一辆红色的法拉利，怎么样？解读认为我们是按照上帝的样子造出的，我们曾经有过同等的法力，同样的自由意志，但正是这种能力和自由意志，我们选择了自我荣耀、自我表达，选择了远离上帝。我们再次努力地寻找回家的路。科学是外学，宗教呢是内学，纯粹是个人的内在体验。
所有的宗教都来源于父神的救赎计划。科学呢是一种追求真理的学问，学习和研究所有的宗教都需要科学精神。这种科学精神呢，就是追求真理的实事求是的一种精神。
就是凯西的关于21世纪的预测他这里列出了10个。他说有一种新型的医疗方法将会出现。新型的医疗方法呢，就是基于灵性和身体能量系统的转换疗法。第二个是生命的连续性被大众接受成为一种事实
人是会转世的，这个世纪全世界到时候大家都会接受生命的连续性。
第三个是科学与心灵学停止互相争论。
社会平衡被全球所接受。社会平衡呢，不是平均状态或理想状态，而是这个社会没有剥削、没有压迫贫富差距不会过大的社会状态也就是说大家对这个社会都有一种社会责任感，那么呢大家都能够尽量的去付出没有那么自私，所以社会就会进入一种这样的平衡状态。
第5是地貌的戏剧性变化。国际的中心向东方移动，中国内陆占据重要的位置。其关于古文明的考古发现将逐渐改变人类对人类历史的认识。第8，直觉和灵性能力的普遍使用。
到时候全世界就会像当年的印度一样，修炼成为人类最崇敬的事情，大家都会相信灵性的能力。许多个体将可以直接与灵性世界联络，并运用在日常生活中。20世纪是一个物质的世纪，大家都非常的迷信科学技术、物质，唯物主义占了一个很大的比例。现在是2022年了，但是未来的10到20年里，整个世界都会发生巨大的改变，大家都会开始相信轮回，相信修炼。
第9是太一原理成为人类所有事物的参数。太一之神的概念成为宗教的指导，太一的之能量将指导所有的科学，人类的整体太一概念成为政治事物的核心。第10个是最重要的，他这里说基督在领。
古往今来能称得上圣人的人可谓寥寥无几。凯西在他的解读中提到了基督再来，而在关于中国的预言中又提到了中国将成为适合全人类新的信仰的发祥地。两者联系在一起考虑，可以断定新时代的主基督将在中国诞生，中国将深受他的影响，而整个世界也将深受中国的影响。也就是说在21世纪人类会经历一个更新的时期就叫调整期。 然后进入一个全新的黄金时代，会有一批圣者来帮助全世界的人，在这一世呢有一个很大的提升，得救的人会很多很多。开西的预言哈，我们就先讲这么多。
Okay, let's recap. I'll read first and then I'll call people to read. Back in 1910, Kyance's first official cooperator, Dr. Wesley Ketchum, requested a reading on this question and offered his explanation to the New York Times. Like the subconscious mind of any other person, the hypnotic trance mind of Kyance is also subjected to the suggestion and guidance of the conducting of the person conducting the reading or hypnosis. Uh, would anyone like to read? We can go down the line.
Hi, Teacher
Hello.
Casey. Yeah,
Hey.
I would like to read.
Thank you.
Whenever someone that we hate does or thinks or says something that makes us angry and fight back, what we hate is often part of who we are. Through the people and events that we encounter every day, a good hypnotist can bring people back to the experiences from past lives to help resolve physical and psychological pain in this life. We will never meet someone for no reason, or have a bond or affection with someone at first sight for no reason. Thank you. Pass.
Thank you. Who else would like to read?
I'm okay to read.
Yes, thank you.
It seems not that important to find out the reason. What matters is how we cope with it. When we deeply believe in reincarnation, we will have understanding, empathy, and sympathy for all living beings.
Thank you very much. Next.
In short, the subconscious mind is the repository of everything we have thought, said, and done from the beginning to the present. Kaiser said that his subconscious, actually anyone's with training, could get the related physical geographic information through communication with the entity subconsciousness mind.
Thank you. Next.
Another source of the information for the readings in the Book of Life or Akashic records. In his reading explains that this is not a written record, but a record of the activities on the scheme of time and space, part of which is available to Casey.
Next. Thank you. Who would like to read next, please?
After leaving the physical plane, souls remain at that spatial plane until they reach a certain level of development to move forward or return here for their perfection. We use our bodies as if drivers were driving. The car is not a driver. The bodies are not us either. But we should take good care of our bodies in order to have more to learn and experience until one day, through God's another door, you will find how ridiculous the fear of death is. Over.
Thank you. Here are 10 projections of Edgar Casey. 1. Who would like to read?
He
Sure.
said, number one, he said in his predictions, in the new century, science and technology and material civilization will develop more rapidly. Pass.
Thank you. Next.
2, people will become more greedy and selfish. Competition, wars, and disasters will be more intensified.
Thank you. Next.
3. Fire spreads. Medicine fails many animals and plants that provide food for humans and poisonous.
Thank you. Next.
Okay. But the heavenly tongue therapy will appear to save human beings.
Thank you. Next.
While enjoying physical stimulation and the pains that come with it, we gradually forgot what we will and who we will. Over.
Maybe this is probably better for what we're in. Okay, number 7.
Man will reincarnate. Man will reincarnate in this century, and the whole world will accept the continuity of life. Over.
8. Jing Song.
The international power is shifting to the east, with mainland China occupying an important position.
Great. Okay. All 10 didn't get put down. Apologies. Feel free to review the video. We can put it in the group. But thank you for everyone for reading. Let's continue on to the book of Living and Dying. The journey through life and death. Everyone mute their mics just to make sure. The journey through life and death. According to the wisdom of Buddha, we can actually use our lives to prepare for death. We do not have to wait for the painful death of someone close to us or the shock of terminal illness to force us into looking at our lives. Nor are we condemned to go out empty-handed at death to meet the unknown. We can begin here and now to find meaning in our lives. We can make of every moment an opportunity to change and to prepare wholeheartedly, precisely, and with peace of mind for death and eternity. In the Buddhist approach, life and death are seen as one whole, where death is the beginning of another chapter of life. Death is a mirror in which the entire meaning of life is reflected. This view is central to the teachings of the most ancient school of Tibetan Buddhism. Many of you will have heard of the Tibetan Book of the Dead. What I am seeking to do in this book is to explain and expand the Tibetan Book of the Dead, not to cover not only death, but life as well, and to fill out in detail the whole teaching of which the Tibetan Book of the Dead is only a part. In this wonderful teaching, we find the whole of life and death presented together as a series of constantly changing transitional realities known as bardos. The word bardo is commonly used to denote the intermediate state between death and rebirth, but in reality, bardos are occurring continuously throughout both life and death, and are junctures when the possibility of liberation or enlightenment is heightened. The bardos are particularly powerful opportunities for liberation because the teachings show us certain moments that are much more powerful than others and much more charged with potential. Whatever you do has a crucial and far-reaching effect. I think of a bardo as being like a moment when you step towards the edge of a precipice. Such a moment, for example, is when a master introduces discipline to the central, original, and innermost nature of his or her mind. The greatest and most charged of these moments, however, is the moment of death. Modern industrial society is a fanatical religion. We are demolishing, poisoning, destroying all life systems on the planet. We are signing bills our children will not be able to pay. We are acting as if we were the last generation on the planet. Without a radical change in heart, in mind, in vision, the earth will end like Venus, charred and dead. A fear of death and ignorance of the afterlife are fueling that destruction of our environment that is threatening all of our lives. So, isn't it all the more disturbing that people are not taught what death is or how to die or given any hope in what lies after death? And so, what really lies behind life? Because of the vastness and all comprehensiveness of the Bardo teachings, this book has been carefully scorched. You will be guided stage by stage through the unfolding vision of the journey through life and death. Our exploration necessarily begins with a direct reflection on what death means and the many facets of the truth of impermanence. The kind of reflection that can enable us to make rich use of this life while we still have time and ensure that when we die, it will be without remorse or self-recrimination at having wasted our lives. As Tibet's famous poet Saint Milarepa said, "My religion is to live and die without regret." Contemplating deeply on the secret message of impermanence. What lies, in fact, beyond impermanence and death leads directly to the heart of the ancient and powerful Tibetan teachings. So from the Tibetan Buddhist point of view, we can divide our entire existence into four continuously interlinked realities. 1. Life. 2. Dying and death. 3. After death. And 4. Rebirth. These are known as the bardos. 1. The natural bardo of this life. 2. The painful bardo of dying. 3. The luminous bardo of dharmata. And 4. The karmic bardo of becoming. The teachings make it clear that if all we know of mind is the aspect of mind that dissolves when we die, we will be left with no idea of what continues, no knowledge of the new dimension of the deeper reality of the nature of mind. So it is vital for us all to familiarize ourselves with the nature of mind while we are still alive. Only then will we be prepared when it reveals itself spontaneously and powerfully at the moment of death, be able to recognize it as naturally. The teachings say, as a child running into its mother's lap, and by remaining in that state, finally be liberated. A description of the nature of mind leads naturally into a complete instruction on meditation. For meditation is the only way we can repeatedly uncover and gradually realize and stabilize that nature of mind. An explanation will then be given of the nature of human evolution, rebirth, and karma, so as to provide you with the fullest possible meaning and context of our path through life and death. At this point, you will have enough knowledge to be able to enter confidently the heart of the book, a comprehensive account drawn from many different sources of all of the four bardos and of all the different stages of death and dying. Instruction. Practical advice and spiritual practices are set out in detail for helping both ourselves and others through life, through dying, through death, and afterlife. The book then concludes with a vision of how the Bardo teachings can help us understand the deepest nature of the human mind and of the universe. My students often ask me, how do we know what these Bardos are? And from where does the astonishing precision of the Bardo teachings and their uncanny, clear knowledge of each stage of dying, death, and rebirth come? The answer may seem initially difficult to understand for many readers because the notion of mind, of mind the West now has is an extremely narrow one. Despite the major outbreaks of recent years, especially in body-mind science and transpersonal psychology, the great majority of scientists continue to reduce the mind to no more than physical processes in the brain, which goes against the testimony of thousands of years of experience of mystics and meditators of all religions. From what source or authority then can a book like this be written? The inner science of Buddhism is based, as one American scholar puts it, on a thorough and comprehensive knowledge of reality, on an already assessed depth understanding of self and environment. That is to say, on the complete enlightenment of the Buddha. The source of the Bardo teachings is the enlightened mind. The completely awake Buddha mind has experienced, explained, and transmitted by a long line of masters that stretches back to the primordial Buddha. They're careful, meticulous, you could almost say scientific explorations and formulations of their discoveries of mind over many centuries have given us the most complete picture possible of both life and death. It is this complete picture that, inspired by Jamyang Khyentse and all my other great masters, I am humbly attempting to transmit for the very first time to the West. Over many years of contemplation and teaching and practice and clarifying questions with my masters, I have written the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying as the quintessence of the heart advice of all my masters, to be a new Tibetan Book of the Dead and a Tibetan Book of Life. I want it to be a manual, a guide, a work of reference, and a source of sacred inspiration. Only by going over this book and reading it again and again, I suggest, can its many layers of meaning be revealed. The more 14 Tibetan Book of Living and Dying you use it, you will find the more profoundly you will feel its implications, and the more you will come to realize the depth of the wisdom that is being transmitted to you through the teachings. The Bardo teachings show us precisely what will happen if we prepare for death and what will happen if we do not. The choice could not be clearer. If we refuse to accept death now while we are still alive, we will pay dearly through our lives at the moment of death and thereafter. The effects of this refusal will ravage this life and all the lives to come. We will not be able to live our lives fully. We will remain imprisoned in the very aspect of ourselves that has to die. This ignorance will rob us of the basis of the journey to enlightenment and entrap us endlessly in the realm of illusion, the uncontrolled cycle of birth and death, the ocean of suffering that we Buddhists call samsara. Yet the fundamental message of the Buddhist teachings is that if we are prepared, there is a tremendous hope, both in life and death. The teachings reveal to us the possibility of an astonishing and finally boundless freedom, which is ours to work for now. In life, the freedom that will also enable us to choose our death and also to choose our birth. For someone who has prepared and practiced, death comes not as a defeat, but as a triumph, the crowning and most glorious moment of life. Okay, we will read one person at a time. Who would like to start on the synopsis?
According to the wisdom of
Okay, go on, please.
According to the wisdom of Buddha, we can actually use our lives to prepare for death. we do not have to wait for the painful death of someone close to us or the shock of terminal illness to force us into looking at our lives. Nor are we Nor
Nor are we condemned.
I don't know.
Huh?
Nor are we how to
Condemned.
read word? This
Condemned.
word
Condemned.
condemned.
Yeah.
Nor are we condemned to go out empty-handed at death to meet the unknown. We can begin here and now to find meaning in our lives. Over.
Thank you very much. Next.
Okay. In the Buddhist approach, life and death are seen as one whole, where death is the beginning of another chapter of life. Death is a mirror in which the entire meaning of life is reflected. This view is central to the teachings of the most ancient school of Tibetan Buddhism. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
The word Badu is commonly used to denote the intermediate state between death and rebirth, but in reality, Badus are occurring continuously throughout both life and death, and are junctures when the possibilities of liberation or enlightenment is heightened. Thanks. Heightened. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next.
I'll read. I think of Bardo as being like a moment, step towards the edge of the precipice. Such a moment, for example, is when the master introduces the disciple the essential, original, and innermost nature of his or her mind. The greatest and the most charged of these moments, however, is the moment of death.
Thank you. And that's a precipice. Thank you. Next.
A fear of death and ignorance of the afterlife are feeling that destruction of our environment that is threatening all of our lives. So isn't it all the more disturbing that people are not taught what death is or how to die or given any hope in what lies after death? And so what really lies behind life?
Thank you. Next.
So from the Tibetan Buddhist point of view, we can divide our entire existence into four continuously interlinked realities. 1. Life. 2. Dying and death. 3. After death. And 4. Rebirth. These are known as the four battles. 1. The natural battle of this life. 2. The painful battle of dying. 3. The luminous battle of Dhammatta. And 4. The karmic battle of becoming. Over.
Thank you. Next.
The battles are particularly powerful opportunities for liberation because they are, the teachings show us, certain moments that are much more powerful than others and much more charged with potential when whatever you do has a crucial and far-reaching effect. Pass.
Next. Bodhi, Vern, something?
Okay. Body.
Yes.
By the major breakthroughs of recent years, especially in mind, body science, and transpersonal psychology, the great majority of scientists continue to reduce the mind to no more than physical process in the brain, which goes against the testimony of thousands of years of experience of mystics and meditators of all religions. Over.
Thank you. Vern?
The inner science of Buddhism is based, as one American scholar puts it, on a thorough and comprehensive knowledge of reality, on an already assessed depth understanding of self and environment, that is to say, on the complete enlightenment of the Buddha.
Thank you. This concludes our reading activity. Thank you for your being here and your attention. Few mistakes, but it's okay. Thank you for your patience. Let's all put our hands together, and dedicate what we learned to all sentient beings. I'll lead. Manjushri has infinite wisdom, courage, and bravery. Samantha Badra's conduct and wisdom are the same. I now dedicate all good fruits of merit and virtue to follow in practice and study, and in all the three times. If you want to review this, we have it on YouTube and it's live. And please join us again Saturday on the 29th. Any questions, please add them into the group and we'll do our best to answer them. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Master Desi.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Have 2 minutes of your intention.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes?
Can I introduce one event in Hong Kong?
What was that?
Xi Chong.
Who's this?
Yes, if I can talk for 2 minutes, I'd like to introduce one event in Hong Kong, a Buddhist music and a mantra concert. I will send a flyer in the chat area. Can
Okay.
everybody see?
Everyone look at the flyer in the chat. We have Buddhist music concert.
Yeah, on the 5th of April. If you're in Hong Kong, welcome to join us. You can either contact the Xi Shifu or Ji Cong. My WeChat is at the bottom and my phone number is there. We're also trying to make a live stream on YouTube. So if anyone is interested, please contact us.
Okay, everyone, do you guys get that? There's a music concert. Everyone?
Yeah, I want to
Right there?
join. I saw Saobo, teacher Saobo, the healing bow master I have learned from before.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
Welcome to join us.
but I'm afraid I didn't have time to go that time because I'm still in Sichuan at August 4.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you. I will recommend to my friend if they have time around there.
Sure. If you have a friend in Hong Kong, welcome to show their this flyer and introduce the event.
Okay.
Is it streamed live for our international folks to view?
Yeah, it will be on YouTube as well.
Do you hear that, Vern and Sophie? Yes. All right.
Yeah.
Yes. Great. I guess we'll pass all that information in the group then, shall we?
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Hey, Sangeta Ramasha.